Justin Wren was bullied as a child, so it's not surprising that once he started watching mixed martial arts, he caught the fighting bug, and soon he stepped into the cage himself.
You may recognize Justin Wren from season 10 of The Ultimate Fighter on the Spike TV network. But this MMA boxer with a promising career was fighting a battle on the inside.
I just always remember fighting depression and just not being fulfilled.
In his book, Fight for the Forgotten, Justin reveals how he was able to put his life back together and why he's now fighting for those who can't fight for themselves.
Please welcome to the 700 Club, Justin Wren. Justin, you have a fascinating story. I was reading your book late into the night last night and quite taken by the path that God had you on. A lot of it started as a child when you were bullied unmercifully by people. How did that impact your life?
Yeah, well, it impacted my life greatly, but very negatively. I battled with depression for 10 years of my life. So at 13 years old, was clinically diagnosed with depression, believed the things that people said about me. And so I wanted to become a different person. And so after some of those, pretty cruel stories in the book.
Unbelievable.
I found fighting, mixed martial arts, my passion, and I thought at first, well, I fell in love with the sport, the chess match of it, the Olympic sports that are all combined into one sport, and then I also knew that, hey, those guys probably don't get bullied.
Yeah.
And so
I want to be on their team.
Right. I wanted to become one of those guys because if I could do that, I would successfully transform into the exact opposite of who I was.
Well, before Jesus, wrestling really did change your life, didn't it?
Without a doubt, yeah. Because I, would sit at the lunch table by myself, get pelted in the back of the head with chocolate milk spit wads, or go to my middle school crush's birthday party, thinking it's a costume party, but I was the only one that dressed up. I had someone
deliberately set up, we should say.
Yeah, absolutely. And told, you're worthless. I believed that, and dealt with suicidal thoughts at 13 years old.
Wow. Well, it really opened a picture of what some kids go through. One of the things you say that saved you in all of that was that you had good parents who loved you and were involved in your life. Your dad was also very supportive, well, both your mother and your dad, of your athletic involvement. At one point, you walked away from all the stuff you'd been involved in as a young person, and the wrestling came into the scene. Yeah. What brought that into your life?
I think wrestling gave me a passion and almost a purpose, an outlet. To escape from my depression, something to focus on. Instead of focusing so much on me and how worthless I felt or depressed or sad, I got to focus on something that maybe I could be good at.
So how did you wind up on The Ultimate Fighter? I mean, you really had a career here. Yeah,
I was 19 years old when I started fighting professionally. I was the youngest heavyweight in the country, and at 21 I was on that reality TV show called The Ultimate Fighter, and 22 one of the youngest heavyweights in the UFC. And yeah, so I had strung along a stream of victories after, leaving the Olympic Training Center. I'd been a two-time national champion in wrestling. I was pursuing the Olympics, but then stepped out to pursue my childhood dream of fighting.
Along with the bullying as a young person, you also had some very disillusioning spiritual experiences with, I don't even know what to call them, just people who are radical or misguided or not scripturally sound. I
just call it the fake stuff.
Yeah, yeah, that works. So how did you find Jesus in the maze of all of this? Yeah,
I would say that, I experienced the super legalistic, judgmental, every road and door leads to hell. Yeah. Also experienced the other side of it, over the top. Maybe charismatic that, left bruises on me at a young age because they were casting demons out of me. Another church where we all got, drunk together as long as you confess every now and then.
And so, good to go.
And so for me, I just saw everything that was fake. And when I graduated high school, my favorite quote was from Gandhi. And he said, I like your Christ, but I don't like your Christians, because your Christians are so unlike your Christ. And so a lot of the Christians that say God is love, I only felt hated by. And I just saw so much fake stuff that I needed something real.
Yeah, that quote kind of makes believers wince a little bit when they hear it.
Me too.
It should be self-evaluating. But ultimately, Jesus got a hold of your heart. You went to a men's group, and your spiritual eyes were just opened. Now, I want to get to the Congo, because that's the interesting part of your story, how God took you from the wrestling mat and the fighting arena to fighting for people who are lost and without hope. Congo, how did you get to Congo?
So 5 years, 6 months, and 28 days ago
But hey, who's counting, right?
was when I gave my life to Christ, and God just lit my heart on fire, I'd say, and I don't know, gave me a real passion and purpose to live for, and showed me that I was still a fighter, but maybe instead of fighting against people, I should fight for people. And so I found the Congo because I was honestly praying 11 months after being a Christian and prayed, God, what do you want me to do with my life? And I know to a lot of people, I just said how some of it's crazy and fake. I know some people could think that what I'm about to say is kind of out there and crazy, but I had a vision, and God gave it to me. I was walking through the forest. I didn't know it was the Congo. I met these people. My heart was broken for them. I didn't know that they were the Pygmies at that time. But 3.5 weeks later, 100% of that vision came true, even down to the thing that made me cry, the biggest puddle of tears I've ever cried. Which was that they felt forgotten. The chief pulls us to the side and says, hey, everyone calls us the forest people, but we call ourselves the forgotten. My jaw dropped, and I fell in love with them, and that's my second family, and I truly believe in them just like my real family.
You know, it's so interesting to me as I read your story. I thought about how God takes the broken places in our lives, doesn't just heal them for us, but turns around and uses them to reach out to someone else. If you hadn't gone through the bullying and the things that you'd experienced as a young person, I'm not sure you would have connected with the Pygmies in the same way, do you think?
No, I completely agree. God used that and redeemed it. And so I was bullied, but I would say the Pygmies are the most bullied people on earth. And how can I partner with God to defend the weak and love the unloved and empower the voice?
Tell us that. How do you partner with God? You and your wife, Emily, now are very involved over there. Beautiful woman. And
and it was her first camping trip ever. Was to the Congo.
Listen, I went, Emily, you go, girl, as I'm reading that.
So gorgeous, but out there camping and roughing it, becoming family with them too. And so I think for Emily and I, we just, we have our own Pygmy names. Mine's Efeosa Mabutimangbo, and Efeosa means the man who loves us. So that's one that touches my heart so much.
Honor.
And Mabutimangbo just means the big Pygmy, because their average height's 4'7". And so what we want to do is practically love them, and we do that through land, water, and food initiatives. And so, we had fundraised, my wife and I, for 300 acres of land and basically 2 water wells. And God's just multiplied that. I believe his hand's on it, his breath is on it, to where it's 2,470 acres of land.
Wow.
It's almost 30 water wells. We employ 18 people in the Congo. We put the tools in their hands, we train them up, put the knowledge in their heads.
Teach them to fish.
And we say, we want to encourage you and inspire you that you can do this in your own country. Countrymen can help countrymen, and it's not dependent on charity. Like God creates opportunities. And so for his children. And so how can we partner with you to create that opportunity to drill water? And that's just been something.
And this wasn't your expertise. I mean, you really made a point of learning how to do this. The story is so fascinating. I really encourage all of our viewers to get a hold of your book, Fight for the Forgotten. It's available wherever books are sold. It's a fascinating journey of how God took what had been painful in Justin's past and used it to change an entire people group in the Democratic Republic of Congo, and it's still ongoing. You'll find it really inspiring. Thank you.
It's been incredible. Thank you so much.
Great to have you here.
This is a blessing.